All right, today we're going to decode ChatGPT. We're moving past the beginner stuff, beyond the surface level hype, to get to a really advanced understanding. By the end of this, you'll get why so many people fail with it, and more importantly, how you can actually use it to get real results. Let's jump right in. I mean, you've seen the headlines, right? They're everywhere. They promise you can make a fortune, that all your work will be effortless, and that success is just a few keystrokes away. It sounds like this magic button for, I don't know, writing a novel or building a whole business overnight. But if it's really that easy, why isn't everybody a millionaire? Well, because in reality, for most people, the journey looks a lot more like this. You get this huge burst of excitement for the first few days, you're trying out prompts, you get some pretty cool results, and you're thinking, wow, this is amazing. But then the quality starts to dip. The answers get kind of generic. And by day 5, a lot of people just throw in the towel, totally convinced the tool is completely overrated. But here's the thing. The problem isn't actually ChatGPT. It's our expectations and really our understanding of how to use it. Imagine you join a brand new gym with the best equipment in the world. If you work out for 3 days straight and then complain you don't look like a bodybuilder, is it the machine's fault? No way, right? ChatGPT is that powerful machine. But without the right technique and a clear plan, it's just going to sit there and produce nothing of real value. So that's what we're going to build today, a real system. We've already touched on the hype versus reality. Next, we'll break down what ChatGPT actually is, learn how to think like an expert user, go over a practical 3-step rule you can use every time, understand its role as a skill multiplier, and wrap it all up with one final crucial mindset shift. Okay, so let's start with the absolute foundation. We have to stop thinking of ChatGPT as some kind of magic genie in a lamp and start seeing it for what it is, an incredibly smart, incredibly fast, and powerful intern. At its very core, ChatGPT is a pattern prediction engine. That's it. It doesn't know things or understand concepts like you and I do. It's just making a highly educated guess about which word is most likely to come next, based on all the text it's been trained on. And this, right here, illustrates the biggest trap. If you ask it a vague or misguided question, it can spit out something that's totally wrong, but say it with such confidence that you'd believe it in a heartbeat. So, you gotta think of your relationship like this. ChatGPT is the fast intern. It can write, summarize, and brainstorm ideas at lightning speed. But you are the director. You have to provide the overall strategy. You have to give clear, specific directions. And you, and only you, make the final call. And this is the bottom line, isn't it? People who treat ChatGPT like their boss, who just blindly copy and paste what it says, they're pretty much guaranteed to fail. But the ones who treat it as a powerful assistant, a tool to help their own thinking, those are the people who are going to grow and succeed like crazy. All right, so now that we've got that down, let's level up. Because the real power of this tool isn't just in the answers it gives you, but in how it can actually make your own thinking better. You see, a beginner comes in and asks, what is the answer? They're just looking for a finished product. An expert, though, they ask something totally different. They ask, how can you help me challenge my own thinking? They're looking for a thinking partner, a collaborator. See, if you start with a totally blank slate, you're just going to get generic fluff. It works best when you are already thinking. This is what that looks like in practice. Experts are constantly probing. They're not just asking for a solution. They're using it to explore different angles, to stress test their own assumptions, to find the blind spots in their logic, and to untangle really complex ideas. It becomes a real collaboration, not just a one-way command. Okay, and this brings us to some really dangerous myths that we have got to debunk. Myth number 1, ChatGPT creates viral content. Nope. Human insight, emotion, and timing create viral content. Myth number 2, ChatGPT builds your business. Wrong again. Your strategic decisions build your business. And the big one, prompt engineering is the only skill you need. Absolutely not. Thinking engineering, knowing what you actually want to achieve, that has to come first. Okay, so that's the theory. But how do we actually do this? How do we put it into practice? Here is a dead simple framework you can use for every single interaction to get way better results. It's a simple 3-step rule. Step 1 is think. Before you even open the app, know your goal, know your audience, and know what you want them to do. Step 2 is context. Give ChatGPT a specific role, tell it who the audience is, and define the tone you want. And step 3, and this is so critical, iterate. The first thing it gives you is just a draft. Experts will refine it 5, maybe even 10 times.
This exact shift is what takes people from getting zero engagement to producing stuff that really works. And as you're using this framework, you've got to avoid these huge mistakes. Never ever blindly copy-paste the output. Never make it the final authority on anything. Don't just look for shortcuts. And maybe most importantly, don't use it as an excuse to stop developing your own skills. All of this leads to maybe the most powerful idea we'll talk about today. ChatGPT is not a replacement for your skills. It is a multiplier of your skills. The formula for getting amazing results is actually super simple. It's the level of your own skill multiplied by the power of ChatGPT, and that equals an exponential result. The tool amplifies what you already bring to the table. But, and this is just as important, the opposite is also true. Zero skill multiplied by ChatGPT equals, well, zero. You can't multiply nothing. The tools simply can't create expertise where none exists. Let me put it another way. ChatGPT is a Ferrari. It's incredibly powerful, incredibly fast. But your thinking, that's the steering wheel. If you don't know how to drive, you're going to crash at the very first speed bump. Without you behind the wheel, all that horsepower is not just useless, it can actually be pretty dangerous. Okay, so let's bring it all home with the final, and honestly, the most important mindset shift you can make. It all boils down to asking one fundamentally different question.
Now, the wrong question, and this is the one that 90% of people ask, it's totally passive. It's, what can you do for me? This puts the tool in the driver's seat and just limits you to whatever it feels like producing on its own. But the right question, it's active, it's collaborative, it's, how can you help me think better? This question puts you firmly in control, and it transforms the tool from a simple content machine into a real strategic partner. Just making this one little switch in how you ask questions will immediately put you ahead of almost everyone else using this tool. It's the key that unlocks its real power. So just remember, the magic isn't in the tool. The magic is and always will be in your thinking.
Hey, if you got something out of this deep dive, make sure you like and subscribe for more. And to help you put all these ideas into practice, I've put a handy infographic for you down in the description. Thanks for hanging out with me. So now, the real question is, what are you going to ask?